Hey, happy Monday, travel lovers. It's your boy Sean from the Sean Experiment, and we have some exciting travel news and cruise news today to get into. The UK is making some major changes, not only to their mask mandate, to their vaccine passport mandate, but also to travel restrictions coming into the country. Breaking news. You got to hear about it here. And also, a cruise line headed to Miami had to turn around and go to the Bahamas to stop a U.S. Marshal from boarding the ship and seizing it. It's crazy. Let's get into it. England's Prime Minister Boris Johnson came out just a few days ago and dropped the mask mandate for all of England. Now, what does that mean? You no longer are required to wear a mask when you go indoors. You're no longer required to wear a mask really anywhere. Now, certain private businesses, of course, will be allowed to continue to make you wear it if they want to. However, most probably will not. The mask mandate is being released, although they do continue to encourage you to wear a mask when indoors or when in crowded spaces. Now, I'm sure we've all been to businesses that say we encourage you to wear a mask. And by all means, if you're a mask wearer, wear a mask. If it makes you feel safer, if you believe it keeps you healthier, wear a mask, no problem there. But if you're not going to wear a mask, you don't have to anymore. Like, this is, for me, incredible news and also a huge step towards international travel getting back to normal. Now, the second piece of that mandate a few days ago was COVID passports are no longer going to be required either. Now, this has already gone into effect as of Thursday of last week. What does that mean? That means when you're going into nightclubs, restaurants, concerts, big events and other things that have been requiring you to show up and show your vaccination passport, meaning that I've been vaccinated, I'm okay to come into this venue, you no longer have to do that. So that's huge. I think they're starting to realize that maybe the wearing of masks or the COVID passports and whatever, they actually came out and said, we've realized that limiting travel to our country and some of these measures didn't really stop the spread of the Omicron variant. So we're going to stop doing these things. Now, they also believe they have reached the peak of the variant, which means they're starting to see significant drops in positive cases, which is great. So they're not just making this because they're tired of it. They're making this based on facts and numbers that are coming in. So no more mask, no more COVID passport mandates that you have to come into certain places. And then today we hear news that starting in February, on February the 11th at 4 a.m., people are not having to test when entering the UK. That is giant. So many people in the travel industry, heads of airlines and prime minister, of course, of England and so many others are coming out and saying, we believe that this is at its peak. It is coming down and we need to get back to normal. They are realizing that they need those international business travelers. They need the tourists to come back and fulfill their duties to spend money in their country. So they are lifting it starting February the 11th. Now, as of right now, if you're entering the UK, you have to take a test 2 days prior to going. You also have to fill out a form, a locator form once you get there. You also have to take a test within 2 days of arriving in the UK. And then you have to take a test for eight days after if you're unvaccinated. They are dropping the restriction for vaccinated passengers, which means that you do not have to take the 2-day entry or the 2-day test when you're coming in. For unvaccinated, there are still some testing requirements. However, they've loosened them a bit to where you do not have to take the 8-day test after being in the UK for 8 days. Now, there are some areas, including Scotland and Wales and Ireland, that sort of get to do their own thing. So don't just assume anywhere you go is going to have the same rules. They will have the opportunity to sort of make their own rules or see things their own way. Now, in the past, they have followed the same direction as England. However, it's not required. So double check before you go anywhere. But great news, all within less than a week, we are seeing no more masks, no more COVID passports, and now no more testing requirements to enter the country. That is gigantic and a huge move getting back to normal. There was even some airline CEOs that said they expect to be back to 2019 flying levels by this summer. So really excited to see sort of life come back to normal, and let's get traveling again, guys. Let's go. I'm really excited to do it. I'm actually taking a trip where we fly into London in June and go on a cruise and hit all kinds of cool countries. So this is great news for me. Is it great news for you? Do you have any trips to the UK or anywhere over in Europe at all that you are going to and you're excited about this news? More excited than me? Maybe. Moving into our last story of the day, it's kind of a crazy one. Crystal Cruise Lines, a luxury cruise liner, was doing a 2-week cruise, just doing its thing, floating around in the ocean, headed back to Miami, and all of a sudden turned around and went to the Bahamas. The passengers did not know why. They were expecting to get off the boat in Miami. However, they say, you know, we're going to give you one more night of luxurious accommodations. Don't even worry about it. They were all kind of confused. What happened? Well, apparently a gas company, Peninsula Petroleum of the Far East, is suing Crystal Cruise Lines and Star Cruise Lines for a combined total of $4.6 million in unpaid fuel charges. So, I mean, I know gas prices are going up, but I mean, $4.6 million, right? So apparently they haven't paid their, allegedly, they haven't paid their petroleum cost, and therefore a federal judge out of Miami issued a warrant to seize the ship. Yeah, seize the ship. So apparently a U.S. Marshal, as soon as that ship enters U.S. waters, would board the ship and take over the vessel. For one, I didn't even know they trained U.S. Marshals to drive cruise ships. Do you call it driving a cruise ship? Right? I don't know what the answer is, but drive a cruise ship. So like this guy's a Chuck Norris of U.S. Marshals. He does everything, right? But he gets on the boat, he takes over, it's his ship now. He brings it back. I am your captain now, he says, probably in that voice. And then he arrives in Miami and they own the ship now. Well, the cruise line said, not gonna happen today. So they turned around and they went and parked in the Bahamas in Bimini, right? So now they have passengers on board, which didn't know what to do. Reportedly, they took 300 of those passengers on a ferry and dropped them off at the Fort Lauderdale, Port Everglades port in Fort Lauderdale. Now, they said due to inclement weather, it was a really bumpy ride, which means there was probably some people throwing up and not real happy. We don't know exactly how many people were on the boat. We know 300 took the ferry ride. Several others were dropped off at the airport in the Bahamas. So we don't have a full number of what's going on. But several passengers have come out and spoke and said they were shocked. They said they were empathetic and felt bad for the crew, who also had no idea this was happening, but they still took fantastic care of them, even though maybe they're losing their job or who knows, right? And so as this more unfolds, it'll be interesting, but it was so great they just said, you ain't getting us, turned around, went to another country. Unfortunately for those passengers, it sounds like they had a long, bumpy ride back to Florida and then had to figure out how to get home. So Crystal Cruises or Star Cruises, what's going on? Listeners out there, viewers out there, have you ever been on a Crystal Cruise or a Star Cruise? Was it amazing? It's supposed to be a luxurious line. I have never been on there. Have you? Does this news shock you? Or even better yet, were you on the boat that got turned around? What happened? What'd they tell you? Are you get a free cruise in the future if they pay their fuel bill? Did they ask for a GoFundMe account? I don't know. So tell us what's going on. Huge news again out of England, out of the UK. Really excited for the travel restrictions to start coming away. I'm excited for some trips. We are leaving Sunday. We are 6 days away from our next cruise. If you missed my last video, they changed our entire itinerary. We're going to 3 completely new ports, but I don't care because I'm going there to soak up the sun, drink, eat, and be merry. And I'm excited. If you're on the boat, I'll see you there. If you're not on the boat, buy a ticket. I don't know. I'll see you guys later. It's Monday. Peace out.